what's going on, guys? It's Shua, Mr. R&B, and we are at Urban Cultural Arts and Event Center down in the podcast room here. We have a group of great individuals from all walks of life today, so it's a pleasure to have all you guys, ladies and gentlemen. I'll say guys, but ladies and gentlemen all together. So introduce yourself. First, this is...
I was going to say.
Hey, I'm Marie. I practice this speech in my head 20 times and I'm failing at it.
You got this.
Just a little bit about me. I am 27-year-old mother of one, currently in a blended family with 4 children in total. And my partner, we've been friends for 5 years and in a relationship for 2. Life's good on that front. I used to make music. I used to be a rapper. But currently I just write poetry. Keep it nice and low.
Sexy. She writes sexy poetry.
Sometimes. And then sometimes I'm in the abyss and life is chaos. So you just never know. I'm going to pass it on.
Hi, my name is Tamika Hughes Pate. I am the founder and CEO of an organization called Go Girl Life Coaching, and I'm also the executive director from another, actually that's the LLC, and the organization is You Inc. And my goal is to continue to empower women through their self-development. And this, what we're doing right now, is a passion of mine to continue to do this and for the sake of empowerment. And let's see, I've been in Green Bay, Wisconsin for almost 20 years. I have 5 children, adult children, 5 grandchildren, and I have been married for almost 14 years. So I'm excited to see where we're going with this conversation.
All right.
Okay.
We got Elvin. He doesn't have a mic.
Okay. I'm like...
I'm Elvin. 36 years old, and I'm just gonna wing it.
I love it.
All right.
I'm Monique. I am a single mother of 2 girls. I am single mother again. I'm from Milwaukee. I've been in Green Bay for about 4 years now, so I'm pretty familiar here. I plan on doing a lot. I don't know. I have a lot of things in progress. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, that was a quick introduction of everybody in the room. Like I said, thank you guys for joining me today on this podcast. And we're going to dive right into what we like to talk about and what we're about. As you can hear from all of our conversations, we said we're parents. We all have kids. We all married. We went through life, different walks of life, and everybody has their own story to tell. So it was my idea to come up with this crazy thing to just kind of throw people together and talk about relationships, lives, being a wife, being a husband, having kids, what it's like. So the questions go on, and I have a list of questions I want to ask you guys. So, all right, and hopefully you guys are prepared. Y'all ready? You don't look too happy.
We ready.
All right, so question 1. All right, so this is my own question. I had this in my mind for a while now. I've been married going on to 16 years. Long time. That is long for my age. But I mean, I have 2 beautiful kids, and it throws curveballs at you once in a while, and you fucking hate it. So you try to deal with it. I myself, obviously, being married and kind of stuck with my culture as well, we have to wing it and be the man. That's it. It's culture. It is a lot of culture. Elvin knows too as well. So it's like we hold that stature of being a dad, a father figure, and husband really highly. So, all right. And so the question is, question 1. Knowing that the relationship that you are in, you know it's toxic, why are you both still together?
I am currently not in a toxic relationship. I would not stay in a toxic relationship. I've left them. For self-respect, you look up and you're like, this ain't it. And then you move better because, when you know better, you do better. A a reason that I have stayed in toxic relationships in the past.
Why did you choose to stay with them? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
why did I choose to, or why did I not?
Why did you choose to stay with them within that time? Like,
within that time?
What made you stick to them? Yeah.
Familiarity.
Yeah.
Familiarity.
Okay.
Because uprooting is so stressful.
Yeah.
It's not an easy task when you don't have a support system and you don't feel like people understand what you're going through or are going to accept what you've been through. It's just comfortable.
Yeah. So comfort zone.
Yeah, but I never stayed for long. I gotta.
Yeah, you got me.
Out of there.
As long as you're good, right?
Yeah.
You're good. There you go.
Mental health.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Oh yeah. So I have personally been in a long-term, not my current relationship, but I have experienced a long-term toxic relationship, and hindsight's 2020. So a lot of it had to do with learned behavior, and in how I felt about myself. So it was a lot of things, and then also I kind of by default felt like if I didn't feel like I deserved better, then I would not reach for better or expect better in the relationships. And then so because of that, and because of my own lack of confidence in myself, it hindered my ability to recognize that it was even a toxic relationship. It was just, we're just going through hard times. So having that ability to recognize what is a toxic relationship or to compare it to, especially when you wasn't raised up in a environment where you saw healthy relationships, it kind of hindered that perspective. So that was my thing. So I think for me, once I had the ambition within myself and the confidence to move forward, and that's when I start recognizing, hindsight of like how toxic the relationship was and the role I played in it because of my own lack of self-worth.
Okay. That was a good explanation right there.
You definitely touched some good points.
Elvin, you want to say anything? Yeah? He ain't got a mic, but he can.
I think, I'm not in a relationship or anything, so just based of like what I've like seen and what I've heard from like other people in relationships and stuff like that, I think it comes down to just fear. It's like scared to be alone, scared to take that step to like actually hold yourself, like being accountable for like your own actions, not being able to like put the blame on other people or anything like that. And for some, I think that like sometimes that gets a little scary because it's like, oh shit, what am I gonna do now? Right? When you can't put the blame on somebody and you have to be accountable for your own actions, then that sometimes scares people. So I think that's probably why they
stay together.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
You want to turn the mic? Yeah. Talk right in the mic. Yep. Tighten up the little. It's just the little. Yeah. Okay. Just tighten that up. Yeah.
Okay, so I could say I was in a toxic relationship. I am 22 years old, so it was kind of early for me. I was kind of young and gullible, and I don't know. I was going through a lot of things. I don't know. I could just say I was young when I was in a toxic relationship. So like as I'm getting older, I started noticing things. I just had I had 2 babies with him. So
so you stuck for the kids.
Yeah. So
that's what a lot of parents do.
Yeah.
A lot of parents do that, and we try, like when we say like self-worth, we want to keep, we want to keep like both like your spouse and you yourself happy, but it seems like most people, like, they dread their relationship. They do it for the kids' sake. A lot of parents do that. Yeah, before a breakup too. So all right. Yeah. So, well, you guys heard there's definitely different perspectives on the first question here, and why people still stay together even though they know it's toxic and not a good thing. But everybody has self-worth, love yourself first. Make sure you guys do put yourself first. Even in a relationship, it takes two to tango. It takes two to make something work. So even if it's bad days, sometimes people need space. That's all it takes, but hey, relationships, it really depends on you, on whether you want to look at it, if it's a good thing, or you're gonna stick it out, or go on your way. So
can I speak to that point again?
Yeah, go ahead.
Just after hearing everybody's response, it did kind of spark more of a thought process for me. A lot of people stay in those relationships because of sampling. When you're a child, you don't really see a good example of what a healthy relationship is. Especially in our culture, no one is teaching young women how to be in a relationship with the man, the maintenance that it takes. And no one is teaching the men that emotional regulation and those skills of how to handle a woman and how to be with the woman. And so we see samples of toxic relationships, whether it's the result of socioeconomic disparities, whether it's a result of just cultural differences or just personal, identity, mental health, whatever the reason is. We see a lot of non-functional relationships in our childhood, and then we grow into adults and think that this is acceptable behavior and that it's normal. I know I personally saw a lot of domestic violence growing up, and for me that was a counter, what is it called when you learn the opposite? Like, I learned from seeing that behavior, I don't want to be in a domestic violence relationship. Yeah. But then a lot of my peers who I grew up with think it's normal. Like, it's just how people show love. So I think as adults in any relationship, especially with children, staying for the children is never the answer. Unless you're getting therapy, unless you're doing the work and getting the help that you need to make it work. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
All right. So question 2 is, this is kind of a funny question. All right. I don't know. I'm gonna skip this motherfucker right here. It's kind of out of the. It's different, but all right. So, if the boyfriend takes the lady out for a birthday dinner, but her girls come along, should the boyfriend pay just for his girlfriend, or do they pay for everyone?
You don't want to go back? No, we can't.
Man.
Okay, I can start.
I'm just from me, I ain't paying for shit.
Okay, I was gonna say
I'm paying for my own and my girlfriend.
We're all grown adults. Be for real.
Why would they come along? First off,
right? Did he approve of this?
Right, that's kind of weird, man. Like, I thought we were going on a date. Why are you bringing 6 other girls with you? Like, hey, that's weird, man. But
a lot of it is culture and like social media. Social media gas people up to believe that that's normal. Except, okay, if my man booked a venue and got it catered, it's paid for. That was his choice.
Right.
But why would you come to this birthday dinner?
Yeah,
you don't got no money. Stay home. You're not obligated to come to a birthday party. We're adults.
Yes.
We're adults.
Yeah, that's crazy. All right, we already know the answer on that one.
Okay.
All right, so
we in one accord.
All right, so third question here. We got this came from one of my good friends. He said, young marriages and mature marriages and established marriages, pros and cons. So we'll start with younger marriages, pros and cons. Since you say you're from a younger generation, and obviously we're all from different age groups, like, what's pros and cons? We'll start with the pros.
The pros.
If there's any,
Okay, so when you say marriages, like, are you saying like,
or I would say,
or just like,
just together.
Okay.
Together. Yep. Together.
I could say the pros of it. Oh my god.
You really got to think on this.
I know.
Yeah, because
I could say something. Learning experience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's one of the biggest things too for me. Like
you're young, you're doing it, you're just doing, jumping full fledged to a marriage.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could say it's a learning experience because I know the younger generation, it's a lot of younger generation that's not getting married or even thinking of getting married, and it's kind of crazy because I know I want to get
Why
married.
do you think that?
Like
like just the way they were brought up, or Because you think about, you can't blame it as saying how I was brought up, because maybe their parents were
Right.
good parents too as well, still stuck together, but their younger mindset can be brainwashed from like social media and all that stuff too. So.
People probably be expecting more than, I don't know, just expecting more than, how do I say, more than they can give.
Yeah.
Say,
Okay.
You know?
You hear a lot that marriage is
you
just
know?
it's just a paper, or it's not that serious, or you hear that so often.
Yeah.
I hear where you're coming from.
Yeah. So that's the pros on that.
Okay. The cons.
The cons.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I can't even say the cons.
You started too young.
Right.
You
You
just
know what I mean?
kind of thought like you rushed into it. That was my thing. Like I rushed into, like, I mean, I love my kids, but I hate them at the same time. But you know, and you know, I had my kids young where, I kind of just like gave up all my career in goals and everything. I just dropped everything. Like, all right, I just want to be a dad.
Right.
I you know what I'm saying? In our culture, we call it toplo. That means that you fucked up. Yeah, that's what that's really what they call it. So I'm like, I was like, damn, I fucked up, and that's what like, yeah, you did fuck up. I'm like, well, but my mom was like, hey, you better man the fuck up and take care of your goddamn kids, or I'm gonna beat your ass. That's what the fuck it is. Yeah, so that was one con. I kind of gave everything up. Yeah, from my point of view. Yeah. So what about you guys?
When you say the pros and cons of, I mean, you say like mature, immature. Like, is this like the levels of the relationship, or where you at?
We're looking at it like younger marriages comparison to mature marriages and established marriages.
Okay.
Yeah, so you could, I mean, wherever you stand right now. Yeah, you could talk about that.
Let's see. I think that there's a difference between the younger me who was engaged at 22, 21 in a very domestic violence relationship. But I also think that, like in the beginning, like one of the pros of like any relationship is the honeymoon stage. Like you go through this honeymoon stage where it's like, oh, you learn each other and they can do nothing wrong. Oh, I just love your sweat. I love everything about you, you know. And then you get to a place where, and that part is the easy part. Whether you're young or you're not in a relationship, I feel like when you get to that part where how do I still love you when I'm starting to hate that sweat, you know? Yeah. And you know, and start recognizing those things about yourself. Because when I got married, one of the things people ask me, what did I learn the most? And I said, I learned that I'm selfish as hell. Like, it's all about me.
As a woman.
Yes. I'm this, but you know, it's like, I like what I like. I want what I want. Right. And you know, like, and how do you compromise those things? And, you know, I realized like, oh, then when I say I'm selfish as hell, it's like I wasn't really easy. Did you
beat yourself up a lot about that? Like, damn, like.
No, I just didn't want to compromise on, you know.
With anybody.
No, it's like I'm comfortable with, you know, with me. And I'm comfortable with this. And then like, well, you can't just be your way to me. It's got to be Yahweh. Or I think this, you know, that thing between like, okay, so like men think one way, women think the other way. Well, there's no right or wrong. It's just different. And sometimes it's so hard to grasp that. And it's like, well, no, there's that right or wrong is just different. Like, oh, that's kind of like me trying to get to Walmart with my husband. He wants to take this way and I want to take that way. And I'm literally timing it because I believe that my way is the quickest way. And then you find out like, oh shit.
Not me.
Yeah. So it's just like really when you get into the maturity of it, it's just like you either going to grow and recognize that, start finding those things, those that happy medium, or it's just going to be done.
Yeah. All right. Marie?
I agree with that. And just to understand the question.
Yeah.
When you say mature relationships, you mean relationships that have been together for quite some time.
Quite some time, yeah.
The ones that are just blooming.
Yep.
I have to agree with Tamika and say the honeymoon stage is a huge pro of the immature relationship marriage. Because you do, like you said, I love your sweat. There is nothing that you can do that I just want to adore you for. So that's a huge pro. I think the con of that is you're with the representative. So that's a pro and a con. Because the representative is the person who, this is you at your best. I want you to see me at my best so you know that at my best, this is what you get. You chip away at that pain over time. And you get to know things, and there's intimate details, and maybe this story and this story put together make a bigger story, and I get to know more about you. And so I would have to say that that's a huge con of the mature relationship. And it can be a pro too, that I know you more intimately than I knew you before.
There's good.
Like I love your I love your dark spots, the things about your wounds, the things about you that the world just doesn't see. All of your vulnerabilities are just out there. That's a pro and a con at the same time. Another huge con of mature marriages is a wandering eye or a wandering spirit. Like,
what do you mean by that?
Some people get stagnant, and some people are constantly growing and evolving and changing. I know I grow and change every day. My partner is very stable, and he keeps me grounded. And I appreciate that about him, because I can be chaotic at times, and he's very just rooted. Sometimes when you're like me, like when you're a wildflower like me, you just want to grow and blossom and bloom, your interests are going to get pulled in other directions. I'm not a hypersexual person, so it wouldn't be that for me, but I know a lot of times men get to a point and they hit a wall, and as they're growing and changing, they want to put their foot in other waters, and that can be hugely problematic. So just to constantly check in with your partner and make sure y'all are keeping the same temperature as you grow. Like, we might not be on the same beat, but we make this commitment together. So we need to be in it together. So you don't have to be perfect to be committed.
Right.
You don't even have to like each other.
That's what a lot of people
committed.
look at it. Like, we gotta be perfect.
Yeah, we don't have to be compatible
like that,
to be
though.
committed.
That's what I always thought. I was like, dude, I'm not compatible with my wife at all. We have none of the same. We don't have nothing the same. She don't like anything I do. I don't like anything she does.
But you're committed.
Right. That's the.
And that's the.
I'm like, you boring as hell. You boring as hell too. All right, whatever. For real, that's her conversations every day. I'm like, damn. Fourth question here. Love, is it enough to sustain a relationship? No. Why are you laughing?
Because it's childish. Like, that is the childish fancy. Like, no. Love is not enough to sustain a relationship. Relationships are living entities. They are the union of two different beings into one. If you see a flower in the garden and you tell it you love it every day, it's not going to grow. Just because you told it you love it. You got to water it. You got to give it sunlight. You got to make sure there's nutrients in the soil. Some need certain pH. But you have to really work on your relationship to be in a relationship.
Okay.
A lot of times I think when people feel that love is like the thing that's going to keep the relationship going, I find that when the people that I have came across that believe that don't even really have a real understanding of what love is, and
why don't you break it down? Break it down for us.
Break it down. All right.
You better preach it past.
Don't
Break
put that
down.
type of pressure, because you're probably going to be like, what the hell is she talking about? Alvin, jump in here whenever you feel like it too, Fred.
Don't sit too quiet, Elvin.
Right. It's just, for me, like, recognizing, like, what love really is. And like you said, even the word, like, it's a choice. And it's like, you have to put all of that into, like, and there's a difference between love and like. Like, you talk about the kids. I love my kids. I give my life to them. Shoot, half the days I don't like them. The same thing with my husband. Anybody else in my life, my coworkers, anybody else. Right. Like, I don't can say I love them, but you go through that. So I just feel like that sometimes people, like, our images of love or our perspective of love is part of the makeup of like what we saw. Because honestly, like, we were talking earlier about like the relationships and the domestic violence and our upbringing. I remember just even being a kid in the upbringing when the boy hit me in school. You go home, you tell your mama that boy hit you in school. What she say?
He liked you. He got a little crush.
Okay. Right. And so, it's somewhere down the line, and you start, like, if you ain't giving me this type of passion, you must not love me, you know, so, and it really was a thing in our, you know, in my upbringing. I can't speak for everyone else, but, so I think that even recognizing that, or recognizing like, I can't give you what I don't have for myself. You know, sometimes we go outwards looking for something that can give us that, and we find ourselves in codependent relationships. We find ourselves, because we really hate ourselves. If you can't love yourself, then you really don't have that ability to give that love to someone else. This, you know, so I'll just stop there.
That was deep.
That was.
That you're going,
everything.
you're going too much. Go, girl.
I agree.
Alright. I don't know. I have a different opinion on this. I think
Okay,
love
let us know.
Yes.
Wait, what was the question again?
Is love enough?
Oh, is love enough to
To
sustain
sustain a relationship, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess I feel like everybody has their own definition of love, right? So, like, what comes with love, right? Love comes with communication, doing more for somebody, doing more for the other person than you would, like, do for yourself. Like,
Yep.
caring, nurturing, doing things that you don't want to do out of love, right? So if we take all those like concepts, if you look at love as a whole and not just as just like the word itself, as like an act of like love, right? Because kindness, compassion, empathy, all that stuff ties in with love. Same thing
It's
with
a big
mercy,
thing, yeah.
right? So in order for love to work, and then you would need all those things. And if you have all those things within you, and you give them to the other person,
That should be enough
then
then.
that's enough.
Okay. All right.
I like that, and I'm also hearing you saying, because you know, like you're not keeping score. You know, sometimes people you get to in that situation is like, well, he ain't doing that for me, so I ain't doing that for you. You know, but love, when you know, love doesn't.
That sounds
Love
like my
doesn't
wife.
do that.
I was just kidding.
Wifey,
I was just kidding.
Right.
He's so
I
low
was,
with that.
I was just bullshit.
You sleeping on the couch.
All right.
All right, go ahead.
Okay.
So the question was, love, is it enough to sustain a relationship?
I can say I agree with you. When you said like, when you said that, what did you say? Oh my God, kids. Okay, hold on. When you said basically like,
If you don't
if
have
you don't, what you say? If you don't say the word love, like say I love you. Did you say that?
Girl, you got me go back. Like,
But
what
she
did I
was saying a
say?
lot of stuff. You said like basically, I think you was like, if you don't say like I love you, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like I love you is just the word. Like basically, you
Yeah.
just have to, like you said, show a person that you actually care and love. You know, like, yeah, that's how I feel. Like actions speak more
than just words, yeah.
Gotta really, you know,
That's
show
how-
a
yeah.
person.
That's
'Cause
definitely.
yeah,
I appreciate all of the perspectives.
yeah.
I just noticed in this conversation that when you ask the question, is love enough to sustain a relationship? As women, we thought emotionally. We thought, oh, that feeling of love.
Exactly,
The emotion of love. Is that enough to sustain a relationship? And then there's Alvin, and he's like, the action of love is enough to sustain a relationship.
That is so true. Yeah.
Yeah, because I agree with you completely. But when I thought of the question, and I think when most of us thought of the question, it was, oh, I love you every 10 minutes.
That's how I feel. I'm not gonna lie. That's why I'm like,
affection,
I love you.
So
Like,
just
no.
feelings.
You gotta,
the feeling of
Yeah.
love is not enough.
Right.
The actions
Yes.
that love provides and requires.
To sustain,
Enough,
yeah.
yes.
That's
Yes.
love.
Yeah,
Right.
I think
Okay.
naturally, like men are like givers and women's are receivers. So in order for that to work,
In a capacity.
yeah. So as a receiver, you have to like be able to like acknowledge those acts of love too. So if you just kind of push
Excuse
him
me.
off and just say like, oh yeah, he does that all the time, and then like just kind of like do stuff like that, and then yeah, he's gonna eventually stop because like what he does like doesn't. I guess what am I trying to say here? I guess his actions don't mean anything if like that's what he's doing.
It gets deeper than that, right? Now,
So his
it's
actions,
making me think like, motherfucker right now.
his love language, his giving love language is acts of service.
Yeah.
Type of
And you're not
love.
appreciating
You know what
that.
Yeah.
And so it'll decline.
Yes.
And
Over
okay.
time, it will eventually.
Yeah, I see that because I feel like that a lot of us, if we're not careful, like I'm loving you the way I want to be loved versus the way you need to be loved, you know, because that looks different for each person, especially when we talk about the acts of service and things like that, you know. So, words, you know, words of action, affirmation, things like that.
Service.
Yeah. So then because naturally our comfort zone is to love you the way I want to be loved, and like, man, why ain't this person, if I'm giving her all these gifts and she ain't taking these gifts because if that's not your love language, then, you know, so like taking that time, like when he's like taking that time, like that acts of service would be good for, you know,
And you can always, and I really stress this, always use your big girl words or your big boy words and ask.
Exactly.
Communication.
Yes.
Communicate. There you go.
And I hate to sound so belittling or condescending, but use your words.
But it's real though. Yeah.
It is.
I even had to tell myself that sometimes I be in my head, use your big girl words. Just tell me what's wrong with you.
Yeah.
I'll sit there with an attitude like, he better figure it out.
Figure it out. That's all.
Yeah. And he having the time of his life. It's the best day of his life. I ain't nagged him and complained and asked the question. I'm just over here with an attitude.
Whole time you hoping he reading all your shit.
Okay.
All right. Well, there was that. That was the first part. We will take a break and we will be back in about a few. So, all right. Thanks for tuning in and stay tuned for part 2.